Evening all, welcome back to the channel. So you want to be rich, do you? Is that really what you want? You want to have wealth beyond the control of men? Well, this is this might get you somewhere there. We're going to talk about invention. The video I did recently, go and check it if you haven't, about manufacturing, really quickly skirted over like the invention process. A bit like your girlfriend when you started asking about her dating history, skirted over, moved beyond quickly. Oh, look at that bear behind you. A little bit like that. We're going to address the facts now. We're going to talk invention. Invention to me is a wonderful system, and I would recommend it to everyone. It's there's even money to be made in just making the Tech II blueprint copies and selling them as well. And we're going to have a look at them today. So let's go through what you actually need in terms of basics. So you have your factory. We obviously found that last time. Now what you want to do if it's invention is you need to have blueprints. So blueprints is obviously the starting point, nice and boring. Obviously everything comes in two flavors of blueprint. You have original or OG, BPOG, or you have then BPC, blueprint copy. And we're not going to use warp core stabilizers because when I was playing the game back in the day, like big time playing it, if you used a warp core stab, you were a bit of a whatever. And no, now I think people use them willy-nilly, which is fine. If you want to stabilize your warp core, then that's fine. But it was seen as, let's say, it was not a macho thing to do when I was playing back in the day. You know, if you were caught in a kill mail with a warp core stab, you got a bit of stick for it. Anyway, let's go and pick something at completely random. I guess to start with, there's kind of things to talk about in terms of equipment and ships. Now, I'm going to start with equipment because equipment's a bit easier and I think a better thing to do. However, inventing from ships from blueprints is also a wonderful thing to do. So we will look at that. But I think let's start with obviously the blueprint here. So I'm just going to pick my trusty favorite, the expanded cargo hold. In fact, no, I can't because I've got no copies of that. So we'll just do the inertial stabilizer. Okay. So what we've done is we took the original. This is real grassroots stuff. So sorry if this really is basic stuff. And you have your boutons here. So if you can see, we have 4 boutons highlighted. Manufacturing, which is obviously not what we're going to do today. The material research, the time efficiency research. What's the difference? Because those that maybe don't know. Material research means that the higher the material research level that you have, reduces the amount of materials you need, therefore increasing profit, because you need less things, less stuff to throw into the cooking bowl of this particular module. And then the time efficiency is just the time it takes to cook, which actually now, I can't believe I'm saying this, now has an impact, because the longer it's in the oven cooking, the more it costs you. Okay, so when you put a job in, because CCP want to obviously eliminate money from the game, because I don't know, why would they do that? Who knows? Don't they want everyone to be multi-billionaires? Maybe, maybe not. Conspiracy, who knows? But we'll leave the tinfoil at the side. Basically, that is then, it does have a material impact, but it also means you get your thing quicker. And then we have this one, which is copying. And this is where we're going to start today. Now, again, the system changes all the time. So let me tell you how the system used to work, because basically in the day, you could create any blueprint pretty much of any quantity and then use it. Now, if you create, say we've got here a copy of about an afterburner there, you see we've got 40 runs on it. If we invent 10 times from it, it will give us back a run with 30 on it. Does that make sense? So don't worry how it used to be. That's how it is today. So you don't need to have, like I have here, comically ridiculous amounts of blueprint copies, because I think that just hammers the database. So I think by having 1 or 2 of relatively high run, I think is better. So if we wanted to, let's go back to where we started. So let's just put, I don't know, put that one in. Go to copy. We see we can get 1 run of 200 copies. That's fine. Unless we want multiple builds at the same time, I think 1 run of 200. I mean, I'll tell you what I do, you know, and I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I would actually do, because I have multiple characters, I do more copies with lower runs. Does that make sense? Because it's still roughly the same time. And let's just start that. So then we've got now a blueprint cooking. Okay. So let's say this is then our blueprint out of this. This is the blueprint copy. We now no longer can do any further researches on this, but we can invent. So let's go to invention. What do you see in this window? Let's go through it. So to invent, you need data cores. These are like the fuel of the entire thing. So if I go to my Invention and I go down to here, we should see we have a plethora of data cores. We have 1 billion-isk of data cores. I buy these in job lots of 1,000. Doesn't mean you have to do that. I think honestly, if you just pick out which ones you want to invent from. So again, in this particular case, we need, I can't remember, molecular and mechanical. I know molecular and nanite. Okay. So when we come to the market, so I go to my market corrector here, we then can basically, and you see I have already created a data cores section. I can just basically buy, what was it, mechanical? No, it wasn't, was it? It was molecular. Do you know, who cares? Let's just pick one. And then you can either place a buy order or buy from the market. I always take a view that if the spread is quite high, that's like a 10% spread, bit less, I would just place a buy order. And again, in this case, I'm obviously going to do it for about, let's say 96.0, let's do 0.70, let's do top of market. And I would just buy like 200. There you go, 20 mil. 200 will invent loads. As you can see, we only use, so it's one per run. So if I take that down to one run, it's one data core. Check that though, because some do use more. So in this case, then it's about duration. How many times do I want to try and invent from this? So in this case, I'm going to invent 7 times from this blueprint. And there is then a chance of success. Okay. And that chance of success is basically, that's the gamble. That's the role you're playing, is trying to figure out, do I get lucky? So in this case, we can see what the output will be, potentially 7 of these. And again, if you remember your standard deviation curve here, 30, let's say 40% likelihood means we'll get 3 or 4. And if you just take that mindset, 3 or 4, we then have material efficiency of 2%. That's a bit rubbish, but that's standard. So there's not what you can do about that unless you want to use decryptors, but we'll come to that. There's a whole thing on decryptors coming. And then you have a time efficiency, which is usually not that great either. For me, for modules, I don't use decryptors and I just roll the dice and this gives me the module. Unfortunately, that means your profits are slim. Yes, you can bung this in an Excel spreadsheet. No, I don't have an up-to-date one because I don't do that anymore. But my view of it is, for modules, I think it's okay to do that. If you wanted to add a decryptor, this is where you would basically add them, but we'll come back to that because I'm going to talk, when we come to ship blueprint production, I do use decryptors and anything that's, say, more complex or difficult. So in this case, we'll run 7. That'll take a day and there's a cost to do that. Not massive, but again, bear in mind there is a cost. And we click start and bish bash bosh, that's done. Let's go and have a look at what it looks like when you've completed them. So I've just done an entire production run here. And let's just roll the dice. Let me just rationalize everything. So we've got a fair bit of space. So let me just deliver. So in this case, it's mostly delivering Tech 2 that I've built. There you go. That's what you're trying to do. Oh, it's very satisfying, isn't it? We can see we built some parts, but there we go. So we did do a little bit of invention. I think I ran 7 jobs exactly as you just saw there, but like last night. And you can see I got 3. So it's 3 or 4. That's pretty much what you're getting. And then that's 30 modules that we can now make. So 10 a piece. Okay. Make sense? Good? You happy? You happy? Want a slice of quiche? You're all good? Okay, so let's move on to modules again. And let's maybe talk now about what to invent very quickly. My view here is that and this is just a personal view. There are people out there that will tell you, oh yeah, you should invent guns because guns are just brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic and they make you a load of money, right? My issue with guns is if you've got 1 or 2 accounts, guns, large guns, I should point out, and medium guns are pretty good because if you don't mind just having 1 or 2 builds, there can be some good. You got to look at the profit margins though, because you notice the cost goes up the more. I mean, look at that. We're starting to get expensive now. It's taking longer days. There's some higher costs to do it. There's more decryptors to do it as well. So you have to start a little bit of a kind of, again, spreadsheet, dare I say, where you have to be a bit conscious that some things are not worth inventing really. And I would say that large and medium is okay. Some medium guns, if there's a fit of the month, then yes. But if you do small guns, so if we just do, so let me just set these to the correct hanger. There we go. So if we do like 7 of those, it's a day, not too expensive. Again, the standard distribution means we'll get 3 or 4 out of 7. So if we did 10, again, we would probably be looking at 4 or 5. I mean, 3, 4 or 5 pretty much. I generally stick at 7 because it's a day. It's a day's activity. So what you're trying to do is basically make it so you have relatively okay skills to do this. But I would say for modules, there's not really a huge amount that massively changes or benefits you in this area. So that's modules. And what that basically then means is you then have an output which you can then go and make. And I think from that point forward, that's about as complicated as it gets. It'll give you some form of, output. Usually it's 10 runs for module. If it's a ship, it's 1 run. So let's have a quick look at a ship. So let's just invent from something cool. That's not very cool, but okay. Okay, so we need a copy of that. Hang on, let me do the Heron. So if I do the Heron, there we go. So if we invent from this one, we can see again, it's not, to do in this case, let's do the full 5 runs, 3 days, 10 data cores. Pretty good, actually. That's not too terrible, is it? And each run gives us, actually, that's interesting. Why is it giving us 4 runs? There you go. I've learned something. Oh no, because we have there we go. So we've actually included a decryptor. Let us now discuss decryptors. So let me find my bloop. There we go. Expertly produced, I think you'll agree. There are 8 different decryptors, okay? And what they effectively do is they do different things for different purposes. So for example, if you were wanting to, invent a ship is a good example. You would probably want to increase the amount of runs you get from it, okay? Now, for the cheaper one, the just base augmentation, there's less chance that you get one, but if you do, you get 9 runs on that one. So let's plug that one in. Let's just have a look at what that one looks like. So if we do augmentation, so let's look at the augmentation one, for example. So if we have this one, there's a success chance reduced by 40%, but it has a max run plus of 9. So in this particular case, if we were doing, let's just show you without, and I can't remember how I remove that. How do I remove? There we go. Wow, that was fun. So with no additional one and just doing 1 run, we get 1 blueprint run out of this. So basically it will then have 2% material efficiency and only 4% time efficiency. Okay, so it costs a bit more to build it as well. But basically that's base, that's stock. So if we add then the attainment one, this then, oh no, it wasn't the attainment. Which one was it? Augmentation. Wow, it's going well, this, isn't it? So if we go to augmentation, right? So this is kind of like the bad one of the two, because there is a better one. You see our chances reduced to 21.9%, but if we do get it, we get 10 runs, but a material efficiency of 0 now, and a time efficiency of, 6%. That is a bit better, but that pretty much is okay for like a frigate maybe. But again, and if you were building this for maybe your own personal use, that's not so bad. For me, if I jump back to my little table here, having the optimized augmentation is the better of 2 parties here. Yes, it's more expensive, but these things generally are not that expensive because mission runners pick them up. I mean, basically you're just giving them as rewards. So if we add this, if we change this to the optimized augmentation, we can see now our material efficiency has gone up to 7. Yes, we get less runs, but it's still 8 runs. The percentage chance has gone up as well by about 10%, which is good. So in terms of like an output, that ain't bad. That's not too bad at all. Now, bear in mind, if I do 5 runs of this, I need to have 5 decryptors as well. So this is where it starts to get, unfortunately, a little pricey. So that's, in terms of how useful that one is, that I'll leave that to your opinion. I tend not to use, I use the optimized augmentation when I do ships. So if I go to my ship blueprint hanger, which is here, I think. So we've invented quite a bit already. So I did golems, for example. So let's just have a look at those. So, this was, again, same process, took a Raven blueprint, used that decryptor. I think we have 3 runs remaining on it because I've built a few. And we can see here it's what, ME3 and PE2, or is the other way around? No, the ME3, PE2. Not bad at all. This again, was okay. I've done Cronus, I've done Paladin, Widow, etc. So if I kind of just give you an overview of this, my view is that this is not too bad at all. because there's usually quite a few runs on them. The Decryptor is cheap, really cheap, honestly. And you do then have, so I can build any of these ships. And that's why I do like ship production, but I would say it's something to specialize in. So if you want to do modules, you do modules. If you want to do ships, do ships. If you want to do both, I would do it as I've done it, which is you make a few things here and there. So here we have a crane, for example. That's more if I lose one, I could just replace it. Again, I do like building things and then using them. I think that's kind of fun. But again, if I wanted to, at one point, I built an awful lot of ships. And they do take more parts and they take a bit more effort to do. You probably need a few more characters and accounts because you need to build parts. As you can see, you've got to build all the parts. But there is a rewarding feeling of building Tech 2 ships. Okay, let's jump back. So Symmetry gives you no success increase or negative, but it gives you more, again, a little bit more of a run, and it gives you a massive time efficiency modifier. Where would you use Symmetry? It's entirely up to you, but my feeling with Symmetry is where you're doing something maybe a bit more complicated and expensive. I mean, a ship, potentially, if you just want one from it, but it could also be more expensive mods. So if I pick maybe guns, for example, so if we went and did the Howitzer, and we wanted to invent from that, and we put the Symmetry one in. Do I have a Symmetry one? Oh, wrong hanger, because I don't really invent much from this. Right, so let's click on that again. So Symmetry here, you see it gives a 12% materials increase. So this is not bad. Plus, it does give you a little boost to the chance. So again, just back here, if I minimize that somewhat. So it gives you a little boost to the max runs, a little boost to ME, and a little boost to TE. No additional chance, but that is good. So if I did 10 of these, okay, then I'm going to get what I would say 4 to 5, maybe even 6. Again, it's a roll of the dice, but that's quite a healthy blueprint then. Plus, with good time efficiency means it costs a bit less to build it. And, you know, this is where I think you start to unlock the profitability of some things. So this is where I think Symmetry would work. Post the comments if you disagree, because I think, again, everyone uses these things slightly differently. The same is true for Process. So again, this gives you a slight increase in chance. Doesn't give you any more runs, but it gives you then quite a healthy boost to material and certainly time efficiency. So let's just look at that one as well. So if we went Process, see there the material efficiency went up. Our runs, I think, went up 1 as well by 2. So, you know, there is real scope to use these things. And if I just jump here and look at the Decryptors, so if I go to Process, I mean, you're not talking big money. I mean, it is money and it is material to the invention. But again, in some cases, these can be quite useful. So, you know, Symmetry is about 300, Process is about 250. Parity is quite a good one. So let's look at Parity. So Parity, or Accelerant rather, let's look at that one first. So what this one gives you is a very healthy increase in time efficiency. So for Accelerant, again, this would be one where maybe you're wanting to do, I don't know, a ship that takes a long time. And I think this becomes quite a powerful one because 14% material efficiency is very good. So I think, you know, there's scope here. And look at that, 50% likelihood. So that means you potentially get another 10 to 20 guns out of a build of 10, an invention run of 10. So you do 10 inventions. That gives you, let's say, 5 to 6 blueprints, let's say 4, 5, or 6. There's a distribution there, but let's say on the good days you get 6. That means it's 66 guns. So therefore, the cost of that Decryptor, which was, I can't remember which one it was. It was Accelerant, I think, wasn't it? Accelerant, I think, is not too bad. So 330. So you have to sort of make it work, but you can make it work. Hopefully that's showing that Decryptors are not bad. I am terrible for not using them because I just mass spam stuff. Because to me, it's not necessarily about the efficiency of it. It's more about, you know, I always see myself as space Walmart. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm just trying to be space Walmart. So there we go. Let's just finish our little table. So we have then Parity. Again, you can see 50%. That's huge. Attainment and Optimized Attainment are probably the ones you want to use if you're doing something like a freighter. So you're making a jump freighter, for example. Because it's inexpensive. So I don't know if I have a freighter. Let me see. Do I have Providence? I don't know if I do. Let me see if I search in here. Providence. Look, my clicky keyboard. No, I don't think I do. I think I've invented from it and I sold the blueprint, but from a freighter, let's say, you could do quite, you would get a good result out of that. Let's see what I have. So Tech I ship BPs. So if I maybe I think I do have something here. Bear with me as I look through my vast wealth. Let's just look at the Roke, for example. So, oh God, what are those? God knows what they are. So if I went to, interesting, I can't invent from that. Why? Oh, because there's nothing to invent, stupid. So if I did the Megatron, so here, for example, again, let's say this is quite an expensive run. So you see there's quite a lot of expense to do this. If we went with Attainment, again, bear with me, you have to make sure you're in the right angle. Invention, there we go. So if you went with Attainment, so Attainment Decryptor, the chance, it was an Attainment, or have I done that wrong? Yeah, Attainment and Optimized. They generally give you quite a boost in the percentage likelihood. Now, ships are lower, classically, so bear that in mind. And if we go with the Optimized Attainment, which I think is the most expensive data core, you then run a chance of 50%, so just under 50% likelihood. And if we did, let's say, 5 runs of that at 30-40%, you'll get 2 or 3 with 3 runs. So this is how I've ended up with literally Tech II ship blueprints like the Kronos there. I did 1 run, that's all it was. So I literally, to get 4, I was lucky. To get 4, I did 5 runs like this, 160, with the specialized attainment, whatever it was, optimized attainment. And then the output was 4 Kronos with, I think, if I go show info, with, I can't even see, 3 runs. So each of them, I built 1 from it. So each of them had 3 runs. So there you go. So that, it can be profitable. You don't need to mass spam this to get something out of it. Hopefully that's making good sense. So don't turn your back on decryptors. They are not bad at all, and they can really help. Success rate we've spoken about, because obviously, the higher the success rate, the better. You can see we have skills and implants increase there. So base probability of 22, the decryptor adds 90%, and the skill and implants adds 12. So the skill then comes from high energy physics, Galante Starship Engineering, and Galante encryption methods. If you boost those skills, I think they do have material. They didn't used to, at least post in the comments if I've got that wrong. They didn't used to, but I think they do now. So there is a way to kind of manipulate and adjust that. Okay. The runs, I think to me, the runs is the most important one, because if you can get something with sort of a good material efficiency, time efficiency is important now. It never used to be. It is now, because it costs you to build these things. Then, you're looking at quite a good result there. And I think even like let's have a look at an accelerant, for example. Do I have an accelerant? Yes, I do. So there we go. So for me, that's not bad either, because, okay, you're running a bit of a risk of not getting one. So if you did 5 runs, you're going to get 1 or 2, right? So if you did 10, you get 3, if that makes sense. So 1 or 2 from a 5-run job, against standard deviation, you would be looking at material efficiency of 4%. 2 runs each is not bad. But it would then have a time efficiency of 14%, which means it builds quite quickly, which means a profit. It's better profit on that. So ships are funny. I generally always have done ships with decryptors, and with modules, I don't bother. And it's mostly because I don't build, I don't invent much stuff. So if I can't, let me just give you an overview. So if I go here, again, it's a bit messy. My apologies, I did not tidy up before your arrival. Would you like a slice of quiche? You look at what we've got here, I've just gone nuts with some stuff. Like that is an awful lot of acolytes. But if I show you the problem, and somebody posted this in the comments, thank you for doing this, because it made me laugh so much. And unbelievably, my acolytes sold. But if I go to acolytes, this will make you laugh. It's worth the wait. So acolyte 2s, look at this dude. Look at him selling 44,000. So let's just see how much is 44,428. Good Lord, why have you got 15 billion of acolytes? Do you build them? Have you got a Tech II BPO? Possibly. Yes, possibly. But that's pretty funny. And that's a good example of where I think if you don't, you could specialize in some stuff and you can make real good money from it. But I think in this case, might have gone a bit nuts. You can see kind of how I do it, because when I'm looking at certain things, like again, I did Invention on these things. These are energy, are they Nosferatu? No, they're neutralizers. Very useful. Small, heavy, medium, and small, right? And that was one run of Invention where out of 10 jobs, 9 popped out. And this is the beauty of Invention. Same with gyro stabs, right? Look at how many I've got there. I've got what, I don't know, 43 blueprints there. So that's 430 gyro stabs. I don't need to invent gyro stabs for a very long time, because literally that was 1 or 2 10-run jobs that just, I mean, 1 or 2 is a few, but it just kept giving me them. So sometimes the gods shine upon you and you just suddenly produce an ungodly amount of material and blueprints. So this is kind of what you want. You want to get to a point where you have an entire catalog of things that you can build, okay? And I honestly would say this is the best way to do it, because this ability to kind of say, right, here's a blueprint for 125mm railgun. I made some copies of it, didn't need to make this many. This is old blueprints from before time. And then I started to invent from them, and now I have them ready to build. But I won't build them. I will hold them until when I see the market maybe spiking. So if I look at acolytes, for example, now is not the time to build acolytes, but let's go and look at something else. Let's go and look at Gatling guns. Let's look at artillery. Let's look at autocannons. Let's look at, you see how it works. You just scroll through and you're looking for something. So, again, they're bad. I shouldn't be building them, but so I'm not going to build any more of them. This is how I do it. And again, I get asked, how do you know what to build? I don't. I literally get a sense for it from these sorts of things. And look at that, minor twos with the upcoming Catalyst event, or whatever you call it, patch, expansion. Look at that, there you go, boosh, bish bash bosh, look at what market is going up. So that's telling me now, I mean, look at the amount, volume of people. So this is people who have like smarts, who have worked out that when the Catalyst thing was announced, anything mining related is going to go ballistic, because more people are going to come and buy it. So this is someone buying up the market, knowing full well that this is going to basically be a way to make a lot of money. And I can literally see that because I have minor twos on the market. Don't know where they are, probably down here somewhere. Okay, the market's kind of crashed a bit since I put these on, but this is someone buying up the market. Do you get that? So when I put these on, I think they were about, because I don't usually do what I've done here at 1.4. I don't put it on arbitrarily high. I'm not a spaz lord. I literally put that on to be the lowest price. Someone has bought up the market, because that's what that's telling me. Someone is trying to artificially push the price up, and it's working. So what this tells me is, right, it's time to make minor twos. So if I go to my minor twos somewhere, it's time to invent from them. So if I go to my invention and I set this up nice and simple, I'm just going to invent a ton of these. I usually do about, like I say, 7, and then we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exciting. Every click I hear the ISK. I don't know what I did then. Did I build one? Just built one like an idiot. So you see, that's how it works. And what that effectively means is that we can use, we can start to really understand, I think, the market trends. So we talk about profit. And again, I think a really good post was dropped into the channel about, and I do read all the comments, by the way, even the really hurtful ones. And just to be clear, my mother isn't a hound dog, thank you. The really interesting quote post was given that basically Jita is actually a really difficult market to make money in. It is true, because the competition is fierce. There is nothing stopping you going to the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I don't mean literally nowhere, but picking somewhere where maybe there is, let's say, a war brewing, or, people are going to do factional warfare is a very typical one. So let's say Blackrise around here, for example. There's nothing stopping you going to like a border point. So there's a nice border point there, rise and just putting a market there, just literally saying, right, what are the things people buy? Let's put them on the market at a higher price. This is how you beat the kind of competition. You have to outthink your competitor a little bit. And I'd done that for years. I would literally load up my trusty blockade runner that isn't scannable. I've learned that now. Transport ships are. So as I'm literally YOLOing, gangster leaning my way through Jita with 3 billion ISK in my hold, thinking that I'm completely immune, it makes me realize how very close I came to losing this lovely ship here. But you then would just load this with, say, you know, a selection of modules, drive it, fly it over to somewhere on a border and just put them on the market there. And all you need to put on the market is relatively simple skills. Let's just cover those. So in the trade, you just need to basically have trade that allows you to, you know, basically do more buy and sell orders and just put them on. I always put them on as corporation orders, always, because I control the corporation. If you don't do that, because obviously the corporation gets the iscaroonies. And I think that's kind of the key thing. So, you know, for me, if I was going to give a synopsis of the decryptors, you want more runs, use the augmentation or attainment. You want faster production, use the accelerant or the symmetry. If you want better material efficiency, use process. And thank you, BBC. And if you want higher success chance, use the optimized attainment or parity. So hopefully that made sense. There we go. And that's it. Post in the comments. Let me know your mind waves around this topic, because I love Invention. To me, it's one of the nice, fun things of the game. Does it make risk? Yes, it does, but it's a bit of a grind if you're selling in the wrong places. And I think it's a bit of a long person's game as well, because the reality is I've put a lot of market orders up. I'm probably not going to play the game of, you know, -1%, because to do so, if I just show you what I mean, if I modify this, for example, I mean, look at the fee they charge now. It's quite high, I think, you know, and I think this is not, it's not good. It's not sustainable. So I am just of the opinion that you just leave them on the market, because eventually the market moves, and it could be quite some time before you see it again. But at the end of the day, you still get it. And I think that's the key marker of what I would recommend. So there we go. Hopefully this was of use to you. Post in the comments, tell me your thoughts, and yeah, you know, let me know what else we can help you with in your Eve journey. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.